on the top of me from I was 179. That youth there, when I was that picture there with me, the next one, I was 17, I'd just become a dad. I was one of them youths that you hear people talk about. I was a dad at 16, that's what I looked like. Then I had my African-centered phase. And anyway, that's when I turned about 55, when I became a criminologist. That's when I went to number 10. That was when I was in the Sunday Times and TEDx. The relevance of it is we all go through phases. I have. These guys on the end, they're rough, raw, crude, nasty, but they've been with me for 50 years. When I say they got my back, these are the mans that would take a bullet on my behalf. So I just want to say the other thing. That's what love is about. Tough love. The next picture is my daughter in the middle with my grandchildren, my other granddaughter. On the end there, the bottoms, my son, who was my best man at my wedding. I didn't have anybody to give me away. My son did it. And he's just about to become a dad. The two pictures down there is my grandchildren, and then finally you got my great-grandson. And then finally, at 60, I got married. And we talked about love yesterday. I didn't know what love was, like most of us. And when I found it, I didn't know why. I get married when I was 60. And what's interesting is my students and the community paid for my wedding. Why? For all of you, if you invest in the community, one day they'll pay it back. So my wedding, I didn't have nothing. People say to me, how come you didn't invite me? Because I know I had nothing to do with it. It's my brethren. So, anyway, so when I say it takes a village, yeah. Anyway, I've only got a few things to say. I don't, because I think when we get into the questions, you can ask questions, but I want to do something different. Me, Levi, Michael, we all grew up at the same time. I remember when Michael was the theatre director, me and Levi go back a long way. But you see, we were there before hip-hop, grime, drill, trap. So I'm introduced to dub poetry. When I was a youth, I grew up in a white family where my stepfather fought in Africa against Mussolini. And he took his post-traumatic stress disorder on me. So by the time I was 8, he rearranged my face, which meant that my hatred of white men was so bad. I used to hear black people say, boy, I'm gonna get that beaten. I used to get beat up. So when I was about 12, I wasn't a killer, I couldn't fight. But if you troubled me, I would pick up, I don't care what it is. So I went through my life hating white men. The kind of hatred you wouldn't understand if you've not been there. I got stabbed, became a father at 16, I had all my legs, I had my leg broken, my jaw, my ribs. So I was scarred. So by the time I got to 18, I discovered Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, I discovered education, I'd read the classics. So I started doing what society said, but I wasn't healing. Until I heard Linton Kwesi Johnson's Dread Bleeding Blood. Because when I was at school, if I said chop, like my father from Jamaica, you get expelled. So you know what I did? You talk about resistance. The biggest resistance in my school and post-school is speaking like your parents. And my mum was Welsh, and I couldn't speak Welsh. Because I was never allowed to go to Wales, because when white people found out mum had slept with a Jamaican, I lost the white family. And then when I went to Jamaica for the first time, because my dad had slept with a white woman, I lost that side too. So when I say didn't know about love, because I never had none. So when people want to tell me about certain kind of emotion, I never had it. So I'm going to introduce you to how we spoke and how we did it. Because I realized I'd studied Shakespeare, and I know for a fact, if you hear Hamlet's soliloquy, to be or not to be, that is the question. That didn't feel the way I felt. Because when I got hit, my expression of it was not in the English language. So I'm going to do a piece, I'm going to dedicate this to Les, because Les teaches criminology, and I'm going to dedicate it to you because you deal with knife crime and stuff. Now, I wrote this poem 40 years ago, and I want you to tell me what's changed. What's changed? This is called Ratchet Talk. I seen a man get chopped up in front of me. I see a chunk come out of his neck. First time I seen the chunk come out, and I watched it. And this is what I saw. This is ethnography, the urban version. This is urban ethnography. So, dub poetry came from Jamaica, whether it's Linton Kwesi Johnson, Mutabaruka, or whatever, I made it my own. So, this is the ratchet attack, because when I met older Jamaicans, they showed me how to cut people with a cutthroat razor. And when I seen this thing, this is what I wrote. The ratchet attack. Me say, the ambulance man I take with the victim, the policeman I take with the criminal. But me say that the night in the scuffle and the fight, the guilty one escape. One man is dead, the blood is red, the ratchet did hungry so it did have to fed. In the bleakness of the ganja smoke, man a doing thing and the night just a run forward. But a brethren over there so I make the special brew, ruling brain. It a turn him fool and that no cool because the way how he must stumble, him a go on like a mule. Him a bounce man, him a push and shove and him body just lose control. And the ratchet still asleep, not stirring, but always ready to wake and talk to a man who disturbs the sleep of the ratchet. As the rhythm take the man, special brew take the man, and drunkenness take the man. And the man bounce a brother who a build up a spliff, and the rizzler and the weed plus the tiny black seed lick the ground. No apology come, no apology come. So the brother get vexed when no apology come. With no weed to smoke and an angry face, the brother just draw the ratchet, and with a cut and a chop, you see the man's skin pop. Blood just a fly and the drunk man drop. The man licked the ground, helpless. The man licked the ground, bloodless. The man licked the ground, lifeless. In the bright red pool, people just stand up in a crowd round and not say nothing. While people in the corner just hold down the man, or chop up the man. The dance, stop. The man's heart, stop. Because the ratchet did talk, the ratchet did talk. When the ratchet did talk, man and woman free to walk. So like me said, the ambulance man I take with the victim. The policeman I take with the criminal, but me said that the night in the scuffle and the fight, the guilty one escape. That are the ratchet. See? Again. Levi knows this, we all know this, but I remember 1985, we had lots of riots. I've been through about 6. Riots are always interesting, not for being in it, for those who turn up after it's happened and go for the cameras. See, we were there. When I went to Liverpool one time, there was a Liverpool riot in Toxteth, and it was right outside his house. So when there was a riot, we were there. We were there. But we didn't have no Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We didn't have no press. We had the far right. We had the word nigger. Everybody talks about the word nigger. I was called that every week. I never liked the word. I didn't like the sound of it. I didn't like the way it felt. But I remember one time, I was in a conference like this, and I'd written a poetry book, and this white guy comes up and he said, he's got that voice, you know, that executive voice. He said, "Excuse me, Martin, can you word?" So, and you see, when I realised, when I speak sometimes, I just sound rough. He said, "Yeah, can I have a word?" It's like, "Can I have a word?" He said, "I can appreciate what you said, but it's not poetry, is it?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Have you seen Shakespeare? Do you know what a soliloquy is? Do you know what French poetry?" And I went through this stuff, and he wouldn't have it. So he comes up to me, and this is what he said to me. He said, "It must be really hard being black." I said, no, it's only hard when you come into contact with people like you, because I like my life. So he said, do you want to tell me what it's like? So I wrote this poem, and in Highfields in Leicester, there was stuff going on in Birmingham, so I wrote this. It's called the Highfield Style, a long time piece. 40 years. Tell me if it's changed. Me said the Highfield style is the Brixton style, is the Answorth style, is the Moss Side style, where the people are survive and the mind run wild. And me say ghettoology is the name of the game. Psychological destruction, inflict the pain, run down your life and turn you insane, turn you inside out, empty out your brain, ghettoology style. It'll mash up your head, destroying every cell with the life you live is one pure hell. But it's too much noise and nasty smell with the crime rates, high prostitution as well. Psychological destruction is licking every man, because the life them live, them no make no plan. So the mind get a balance, so them dash them in a van, go take them into hospital, go get them a brain scan. Psychological destruction. Me said the concrete life is one rat race. Social pay the rent and council get the place, but a little time later, turning a disgrace, because every bit of living, the hustler them a chase. The black man run the area, I own them corner shop, the man them just hustle to make rent trouble stop. And the woman them a push them pram until them legs one drop, because society created another human flop, but them no business. Because once again it's been ignored, me said they push it to one side, it's like a cancer in my body. Something to hide, but a little understanding is something to be tried. Because the people in them area, them still have them pride. And if you feel them life easy, go up on them side. And when it gets rough, you see a eye them open wide. Because the Highfield style is the Brixton style, is the Answorth style, is the St. Paul style, is the Tapster style. That's what we as ghetto people call simply ghetto style. Thank you. I'm going to do this because this next piece is, I'm not a lover of cold food when I come to a conference. Right? And you'll see where I'm going with this. Don't get me wrong, I like sandwiches. I do. Crisps. But when I start this, for those who want a little history lesson, when slaves would go out to a field, they'd crush fish and stuff together in the form of a ball in a dumpling. And I remember, when I was a youth growing up in a white family, the first time I ever had a dumpling, because I grew up in a white family, it was suet dumplings. So, the first time I went to a Caribbean family and had a dumpling, I'm not lying, it nearly wrenched my teeth out. And I realised, right, that never having had that, I became obsessed with the dumpling. You know why? And as I got older, certainly with this piece, I noticed, I went to a meal the other day with my mother-in-law, and only 3 of us had Caribbean food. The other 20 odd, they didn't eat Caribbean food anymore. And I realised, right, has anybody ever been to a dumpling shop? And black people, what I love about black people, go dumpling shop. When we go and say, yo, give a couple of dumplings. If the dumpling ain't the right size, no. So this is to the dumpling, because I don't want you to think it was all aggression. Nah, because we needed to laugh. So we had to say stuff to make you laugh. So I'm going to do this in one more and then that's it. This is to the dumpling, because to me, there's a very clear message in this. A dumpling is a thing, and that I know for sure. Without them ball of flour, me say life would be just a bore. They might be fried a while, and me say soft or even tough. But a dumpling is a thing you can never get enough. The sort of dumpling we like is really hard to chew, like it stick inside your teeth, like it stick with super glue. You can eat with green banana, yam and dashing too, ackee and some saltfish, sweet potato and callaloo. One time I meet a person who used self-raising flour, then put it in the pot and leave it for 1 hour. When the dumpling them be cooked, them jump out of the pot. The only thing they done was the water that was hot. Then we come to cornmeal dumpling, when it's something we did learn. That when we eat the cornmeal, it made my stomach burn. The next we eat at breakfast is something we've had tried. Yes, it's that famous dumpling that we call Freddy Fried. No, dumpling is a word a lot of black people don't like to hear, because when you say it in the wrong company, black people disappear. But a dumpling is a tradition, part of our history. To the English, it is chips and a good old cup of tea. So when we see it on the table, lying on my plate is something that we love that I will never eat. So when I run out of flour, I better start to fret, because I also go to dumplings, I also tell forget. So to them who do not like them, we just can't stand the taste. There is nothing that can show me that a dumpling can't replace. So, I'm just going to go through this. I'm going to leave you with this one. I had the privilege of working with Gil Scott-Heron. I also had the privilege of working with the Last Poets. Gil Scott-Heron wrote a poem called "The Revolution Shall Not Be Televised." I rewrote it, and this is the title of it. And this is really for, sorry, just going to put this on. This is for the next generation, and for some of the conversations we had yesterday. Is this? So I'll just put it up here if it's alright. So this is called Digital Revolution, and I've used the same structure, but I want you to just, and this is for the younger ones in particular. I don't want you guys to do what I've done or be like me in that sense. I want you to do it your way, but recognize this is what we experienced in the past. And this is written because I teach students in criminology about what we call nomophobia, which is the irrational fear of not being connected to the internet. So it's called Digital Revolution. This is for you guys, but mainly the younger ones. You will not be able to stay in the comfort of your high-rise block or detached house in the suburbs, brothers and sisters. You will not be able to walk away, run off or hide. You will not be able to smoke a spliff, take crack, place a bet or get drunk, because the revolution will not be digital. The revolution shall not be brought to you by Dixon's PC World Curries, the World Wide Web or email. The revolution will not show you satellite images of black on black crime, false consciousness, depression or a community in crisis. The revolution will not be digital. The revolution shall not be brought to you by Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Kevin Hart or any other black comedian who believes that comedy kills black pain. The revolution will not hide your ugly attitude, hide your fears. It will not make you look your weave look better. It won't improve your sex drive. It won't make you a better Christian. And it will not make you more acceptable to white people, because the revolution will not be digital. There will be no still images of a single parent mother and brothers passing on the virus to sisters. There will be no software for the countless victims of physical and sexual abuse who remain silent. There will be no CD of a brother who commits suicide in his cell as he struggles to deal with a life sentence. And no amount of memory on your hard drive will be able to stop that you to explode because he's had enough. And as I said, the revolution will not be digital. The BBC will not make a docu-soap about ghetto life, and executive producers will be unavailable for comment, as they would have fled the scene, making Uncle Tom's scramble for the crumbs that we left behind. The revolution will not be digital. There will be no pictures of police feeding an evening meal of a bat and boot and fist to a brother who was in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong skin. And there will be no repeat performances after the watershed. There will be no pictures of upwardly mobile black people having their superiority complexes destroyed by a young brother who wants what they have as he's tired of being fed lies and false promises. The revolution will not be digital. The revolution will not show photographs using Adobe Photoshop depicting high-rise blocks, mentally ill black people, tortured souls selling their bodies for crack. Dreamweaver will not be able to use to create a website where images of Afrocentric wannabes wearing kente cloth telling urban warriors about Malcolm X and pseudo-revolutionary politics. Macromedia Director will not be able to create a CD-ROM about gang members who disregard the call to lay down arms and take you hostage by any means necessary. Designer clothes will not be relevant. We won't care if she slept with her sister's boyfriend's cousin's brother on Jerry Springer. We won't be bothered by how many pieces of Kentucky's fried chicken you can get for £4. No one's interested in your man, your 3 baby mothers, fake attitude and American Express smile, because terror and its cousin fear will be occupying the streets. And as I said, the revolution shall not be digital. There will be no repeats on Newsnight or Channel 4 News, and we won't give a damn if there's no black newsreaders. The Spice Girls will not write the musical introduction or Boyzone. It will not be sung by Robbie Williams, Shania Twain, or Elton John, or any other fake wannabe black boy band. The revolution will not be digital. See, the revolution shall not return after a commercial break. Party political broadcast or newsflash about corrupt politicians. There will be no subtitles or sign language, no pay-per-view options. You won't have to worry about keeping fit, holistic living, healthy eating or childcare provision. The revolution will not get better with heroin. It will not stop cancer. The revolution will not care how many stocks and shares you've got. It won't care if you go and live in the suburbs, go skiing in France if you've got a degree, a master's, a PhD. It won't care whether you're a vegetarian, a vegan, or a meat eater. The revolution will not care if you're a Christian, Jehovah's Witness, because you won't be watching it from the sidelines in the stand or the front row, because it's going to infect you like a rash, eating you alive. See, the revolution will not be digital, will not be digital, not be digital, be digital. The revolution will be live and direct, and you'll be playing a starring role. www.ukraine.com. Thank you.